The forgotten blade in the middle of a silent desert under a red sky, a boy named Leo walked alone. He wore a torn jacket, dusty boots, and a small bag tied around his shoulder. The wind whispered through the broken rocks, carrying the smell of old metal and forgotten battles. Leo was only 16, but his eyes were sharp like someone who had seen too much. Earth was not what it used to be. A long time ago, before Leo was born, there was a great war between humans and alien invaders. The war had ended, but the scars still remained. Burned cities, ruined ships, and deserts filled with strange ruins. People now lived in small, scattered colonies trying to survive among the remains of a lost age. Leo was a scavenger. He searched the ruins every day looking for old tech to sell. Sometimes he found broken machines, other times weapons or strange crystals. But today felt different. He didn't know why, but the wind carried a strange energy. Something was calling him. He climbed over a pile of metal bones, what looked like the remains of an alien robot, and spotted a half-buried stone door. The symbols on it glowed faintly. Leo had never seen anything like it. He dropped to his knees and began brushing away the sand with his hands. As he dug deeper, the glow grew brighter. His fingers touched something hard, cold and smooth. It wasn't stone. It was a handle. Carefully he pulled, and the object came free. It was a sword, not a normal sword, but one with a silver blade that shimmered like water. Strange symbols ran down its center, and the handle was wrapped in black leather that seemed untouched by time. As soon as he held the sword, the ground shook. Leo stumbled back, gripping the blade tightly. The air around him changed. It became heavier, warmer. A whisper echoed in his mind, soft but clear. "Give it back." He looked around. No one was there. "Hello?" he said, voice shaking. Nothing answered, but the sword pulsed in his hand, a soft glow moving through the blade. Suddenly, a sharp noise filled the air, a high-pitched screech like metal grinding on metal. Leo turned and saw small flying drones heading toward him. Their red lights blinked fast. They were military. "They're not supposed to be here," he whispered. He grabbed his bag, hid the sword under his jacket, and ran. The drones followed, scanning the area with blue beams of light. Leo jumped over a broken wall and slid down a sand dune, breathing hard. He knew a place to hide, an old bunker buried beneath a collapsed ship. He had stayed there before when scavenging near this area. He reached the entrance and pushed open the rusty door, crawling inside just as the drones flew overhead. Inside, it was dark and cold. Leo pulled out the sword again. The glow was stronger now. It lit up the small room with a soft white light. He stared at it. The sword didn't feel like a weapon. It felt alive. As he sat in the dark, the voice came again, this time clearer. "You are not him. Where is he? Where is my soul?" Leo's heart beat faster. He wanted to drop the sword, to run, to scream, but he couldn't. Something deep inside him told him this was meant to happen, that he had found something important, something dangerous. He whispered back, "Who are you?" The sword pulsed again, and then something even stranger happened. The air shimmered in front of him. A figure appeared, faint at first like smoke. It was a woman, young and tall, wearing armor made of light. Her eyes were closed, her hair floated as if underwater. Her lips moved slowly, and a single tear slid down her cheek. Leo stared in shock. He couldn't speak. The woman opened her eyes, glowing blue like the sky before the war. She looked at him. "You woke me," she said, her voice soft but powerful. "I've waited so long. Too long." Leo's mouth was dry. Who are you?" She looked at the sword in his hands. Her eyes filled with something strange. Not anger, not sadness. Something deeper. "This sword holds my soul," she said. "And now, it calls to me. But you are not the one who made the promise." Leo frowned. "What promise?" The woman stepped closer. "You will remember soon. But they are coming. They always come when I awaken." Before Leo could ask more, A red light filled the bunker. The drones had found him. The sword glowed brighter. The woman vanished. Leo stood up, gripping the sword tight. He didn't know what this was or what he had started, but he knew one thing. He could never go back to his old life. Something had awakened, and now it wanted everything back. The woman in the flame, the night was cold inside the old bunker. Outside, the wind roared, and the sky was red with storm, clouds. Leo sat against the wall, the sword across his lap. He had blocked the entrance with old metal parts, hoping the drones would lose him in the dark, but he couldn't stop thinking about the woman, the one who spoke from the sword. She wasn't real. At least she shouldn't be. People didn't live inside weapons. People didn't cry from inside glowing blades. "You are not the one who made the promise," she had said. Her voice echoed in his head like it had been spoken only seconds ago. Leo looked down at the sword. Its glow had dimmed but not gone. The strange marks on it pulsed softly like a sleeping heart. He wanted to throw it away, to bury it deep where no one could find it, but he couldn't. Something inside him was pulling toward it, something he didn't understand. Suddenly, the sword grew warm in his hands. He blinked. The air around him started to shimmer again. Heat filled the room, not like fire, but like sunlight touching skin. The figure returned. She rose from the blade like smoke turning to light, the woman, her armor glowing softly, her face calm but unreadable. Her feet didn't touch the ground. She floated above the sword, her long hair waving as if underwater. Leo stood slowly. He didn't feel afraid this time. He felt connected. "Who are you?" he asked. The woman opened her eyes again. "I am Saria," she said. "I was once human. I was once flesh. Now, I am what remains." Leo stared. "How can you be inside a sword?" Saria's gaze did not shift. "I wasn't supposed to live, but I did not want to die. So I became the weapon, to stop them, to protect the future." "The aliens?" Leo asked. Saria nodded. "The Katharak. They came from the stars. They came to consume. They destroyed everything. We fought, we bled, we lost." Leo sat down slowly. "But the war ended hundreds of years ago. No one remembers it clearly. Because the truth was buried," Saria said. "They never left. They are only waiting. And now, they know I've awakened." As she spoke, a sharp sound echoed through the bunker, clicks and thuds above near the door. Leo jumped to his feet. Saria faded slightly but stayed present. "They found you," she said calmly. "They are not drones, not anymore." Leo ran to the door and looked through a crack. Shadows moved outside, tall, thin figures with glowing, blue eyes. They didn't move like humans. Their steps were too smooth, too quiet. He backed away. "What are they?" Saria's face darkened. "Sleepers, humans who carry the seed of the enemy, activated when I return." "But why me?" Leo asked. "Why am I part of this?" Saria stepped closer. "Because your blood remembers. Your family made the vow, and now the sword has chosen you." Leo shook his head. "No, I'm not a soldier. I just collect trash to survive." The sword glowed stronger. "Then survive," Saria said. "Survive by fighting." Outside, the creatures began tearing at the bunker's metal walls. Sparks flew. One arm punched through, reaching blindly. Leo held the sword tightly. It felt hot now, almost like it was alive. As the wall cracked, Saria reached toward him. "Let me in," she said. "What?" "Your body, your mind. Just for a moment. I can protect you." Leo hesitated. Something about her felt trustworthy, but this wasn't normal. "Letting a spirit inside your head?" The wall cracked again. A face peeked through, pale skin, blue eyes, no emotion. Leo gritted his teeth. "Fine, do it." The moment he agreed, Saria's body turned into fire and light. The energy shot straight into Leo's chest. His eyes widened. He felt a force flood through his arms, legs, and spine. His heartbeat matched the pulse of the sword. He wasn't alone inside his body anymore. He raised the blade. When the door burst open, the first creature stepped in. Leo moved faster than ever before. The sword flew in a wide arc, cutting through the figure in a flash of blue light. Sparks and steam flew. The creature screamed, not like a man but like metal being crushed. More entered. Leo moved again. The sword guided his arms, his legs, even his breath. He wasn't fighting. Saria was. He was just the body. But each strike came, with memories, flashes of her past, burning skies, alien ships, her voice yelling orders. The moment she fell, stabbed through the chest, promising to never let the blade fall. He cut down 3 more enemies. The last one ran. Leo dropped to his knees, gasping for air. Saria stepped out of him slowly, her face calm, but her glow weaker. "They will send more," she said softly. "They always do." Leo looked at his hands, still shaking. "What are we supposed to do now?" Saria looked at the stars through a hole in the bunker roof. "We run. We hide. We prepare. And when the time comes..." She looked down at him, her voice like thunder hidden in the wind. "We take back what was stolen." She was Earth's last defender. The morning sky was black with smoke. Leo and Saria had left the bunker behind before sunrise. They walked through the burned ruins of what used to be a city, broken towers, silent streets, and cars half covered in sand. Everything looked dead. The world felt abandoned. Leo hadn't said much since Saria entered his body and fought those things. His hands still trembled. He could still hear their screams and feel the fire that had moved through his chest. The sword was now tied across his back, but he could still feel its heartbeat. Saria walked ahead of him, not touching the ground. Her glowing armor had faded to soft light, and her face was calm. But her eyes were full of memory. "Was this your city?" Leo asked, stepping over cracked pavement. Saria looked around. Once, a long time ago, before the fires, they stopped near a half-fallen statue of a soldier holding a flag. The face of the statue had been destroyed. "Tell me what happened," Leo said. "The real story. No one talks about it anymore." Saria turned slowly and sat on the edge of a broken stone wall. For a moment, she looked almost human. "I was 17 when they came," she began. "They arrived in ships shaped like knives. The sky turned black. Every signal went silent. They didn't come to talk. They came to feed." Leo listened quietly. "We fought back," she continued. "Soldiers, scientists, people like me. But nothing stopped them. They could infect machines, even people. They twisted our weapons, turned friends into enemies. They were not just aliens. They were something worse. Something older." Leo frowned. "Then how did we survive?" Saria looked at the sword on his back. "We didn't. Not really. Only small groups survived, hiding underground. We bought time, not victory, and the only way to slow them was to give them something they feared." Leo's heart sank. "You," she nodded. "My spirit was merged with this blade. They called it Project Soul Blade, the last defense. I was their weapon, their final hope. But I failed." "What happened?" Saria stood again. The wind caught her hair, making it glow in the dim light. "I killed the wrong people," she said. "I was too powerful, too angry. I destroyed whole cities to stop alien nests from spreading. I made choices humans couldn't understand. They feared me more than the enemy." Leo stepped back slightly. "You burned cities?" Saria looked at him with eyes that had seen too much. "To save billions, I erased millions. It broke me. So I sealed myself inside the sword. Only my bloodline could awaken me. Only when the time was right." Leo sat down, his mind spinning. "Then, why me?" Saria tilted her head. "Because you are the last. The line was hidden, protected. Even you didn't know. But the sword remembers. It called to you. And now, it's too late to turn back." Suddenly the sky flashed blue. Leo and Saria looked up. A ripple of light moved across the clouds. Unnatural, sharp, like a signal being sent. "They know," Saria said quietly. "They found us again." Leo jumped to his feet. "What do we do?" Saria raised a hand and the sword floated into her grasp. Her form brightened for a second, then flickered. She was weaker than before. "You have to learn to fight," she said. "To use the blade without me." Leo swallowed hard. "But, I don't know how," she looked at him. "Then we begin now." They moved toward the edge of the city, where empty land stretched out like a sea of ash. Saria stopped near a burned-out vehicle. She drew a circle in the sand with the sword's tip. "Stand inside," she said. Leo stepped into the circle. Saria raised her hand and from the sand glowing figures appeared, shapes of the creatures that had attacked them. Not real, but made of light and memory. Training illusions. Leo stepped back. "You want me to fight them?" "No," she said, eyes cold. "I want you to survive them." The figures rushed forward. Leo barely had time to react. He blocked the first one clumsily, then tripped and fell. The second struck his arm. It didn't hurt, but the pressure was real. He got up, breathing hard. His fear was louder than his thoughts. Saria watched from the edge, silent. "Again," she said. He fought again, and again, and again. Every time he fell, she whispered nothing. No comfort, only silence. Hours passed. Blood dripped from his mouth. His hands ached. His body shook. "Why are you doing this?" he shouted. "Because they won't show mercy," she said. "You have to be faster, stronger, or you will die. And so will everyone else." Leo's breath turned into steam. His muscles burned, but something inside him changed. The sword started feeling lighter, his steps sharper. In one motion, he blocked 2 strikes and dropped the third figure with a clean blow. The illusions vanished. Saria smiled for the first time. "You're learning," she said. Leo dropped to his knees. "I don't want to kill." "No, one does," she replied. "But sometimes the only way to protect the light is to walk through the fire." Suddenly the ground shook. A low hum echoed in the air. Leo looked up. 3 ships were descending from the sky. Large, black, and shaped like bones. Saria's face hardened. "Those aren't scouts," she whispered. "Then what are they?" Leo asked. She stared into the sky. "They're collectors. They're here to take the sword." "What happens if they get it?" Saria looked at him, and for the first time, real fear entered her voice. "Then everything dies." The sword and the boy the ships landed without sound. 3 enormous black crafts hovered just above the ground, casting long shadows across the dead city. They looked like floating bones, twisted and ancient, humming with cold energy. Nothing moved inside them. No doors opened, no weapons fired. But the silence was worse than any explosion. Leo stared at them from behind a crumbling building, breathing fast. His heart beat so loud he thought Saria might hear it. "Why aren't they attacking?" he whispered. Saria stood beside him, her face unreadable. "Because they don't need to. They already know we're here. They're waiting to see what you'll do." Leo frowned. "Me?" She looked at him. "They don't care about cities anymore. They care about you. Because you hold me. Because you are the key." The words felt too heavy. Leo didn't feel like a key. He felt like a scared boy who had only just learned to swing a sword. But the look in Saria's eyes was clear. He had no choice anymore. "We can't run?" he asked. "No," she said. "If we run now, they'll follow. They'll burn every colony you hide in. They'll draw you out with blood." Leo swallowed, hard. "Then we fight." Saria didn't smile. She simply placed a hand on the sword's hilt, still tied across his back. The moment she touched it, the blade lit up with silver light. "Not like this," she said. "You're not ready." Leo shook his head. "I've been training. I've fought the illusions, I've survived. Training is not truth, she said. Fighting is not the same as killing. Then teach me more, he said. If they want the sword, they'll have to take it from me. Saria looked at him for a long time. Then she stepped back. Then listen closely, she said. The air shimmered. The sword lifted from Leo's back and floated between them. Saria's body began to break apart into streams of light, each thread wrapping around the blade. Her voice remained, echoing in the space. To control the sword fully, you must open your soul to it. Not just fight beside me, but bond with me. Body, mind, and memory. Leo stepped forward. What does that mean? You must see what I saw, she said. You must feel what I felt. Every death, every mistake, every fire I caused. If you can carry that weight and still stand, then the sword will obey you. Leo nodded. Do it. Light surged from the sword. Everything vanished. Leo was standing in another world. He was not himself anymore. He was looking through Saria's eyes, breathing with her lungs, thinking with her thoughts. The sky was on fire. Alien ships rained down like meteors. Cities crumbled. People screamed. Saria was running through the streets in armor, the sword in her hands glowing like a star. Her team, other warriors with strange tech, fought beside her. They were losing. She reached a command center. The generals inside argued, terrified. They begged her to destroy a part of the city to stop the enemy from advancing. She hesitated. Just a moment. Then she pressed a switch. A wall of fire swept across the land, taking buildings, aliens, and innocent people alike. The sword burned with her pain. She cried while standing in the flames. The generals called her a hero. Others called her a monster. In her final memory, she stood alone. No allies, no armies. The last alien god descended, taller than a tower, covered in gold and black armor, eyes glowing with cruelty. Saria drove the sword through her own chest. The explosion wiped out the entire valley. Leo gasped as he returned to the present. His knees hit the ground. Tears ran down his face. He had seen it all, felt it all. Saria's fear, her guilt, her strength. The sword now floated before him, glowing, brighter than ever. He reached out with both hands. It flew into his grip like it belonged there. I'm still here, he whispered. And I don't hate you. Saria's voice echoed softly from the blade. Then you are ready. Just then, a loud thud shook the ground. A door opened in the nearest alien ship. A massive figure stepped out, 10 feet tall, skin like cracked stone, and arms made of metal and muscle. Red lights blinked along its body. It was not alive. It was a hunter. Leo stepped forward. He didn't run. He didn't hide. He held the sword in both hands and raised it. The blade hummed with power. His fear was still there, but something stronger had taken its place. He charged. The hunter swung a massive arm. Leo ducked under it and slashed upward, sparks flying. The cut left a burning mark, but the creature didn't slow down. They fought, in the ashes of the city. Leo was fast, but not perfect. He was still learning, but the sword moved with him, corrected him, warned him. He struck again, and again. Then the hunter grabbed him by the neck and lifted him high. He gasped, struggling. The sword pulsed. Saria's voice whispered, "You must choose." In that moment, Leo saw a second option. He could let the sword take over completely. Saria could fight through him again. But if he did, would she ever leave his body? Would he still be Leo? He gritted his teeth. "No," he growled. "This time, I fight!" He raised the sword one last time and stabbed it deep into the hunter's chest. The creature screamed as red light exploded from inside. It fell backward, crashing through a wall. Leo dropped to the ground, coughing, bleeding, shaking. The sword's glow faded slightly, resting. He looked at it. "We're not done," he whispered. "They're still coming." Saria's voice was quiet. "Yes, and next time, they won't send hunters. Leo looked toward the sky. Then what will they send? Silence. And then, a single word. Him. Ghosts of the past night had fallen again, but there were no stars. Dark clouds covered the sky and lightning flashed far in the distance. Leo sat near a cold fire pit, staring at the sword resting beside him. His face was cut, his arms bruised, but his hands gripped the hilt with purpose. Saria's voice had gone quiet since the last battle. She hadn't spoken in hours. Him, she had whispered before going silent. Who was he? Leo didn't have to wait long to find out. Suddenly, a soft hum broke the silence. A small black drone hovered above him, scanning slowly. It didn't attack. Leo raised his sword, but the drone spoke. We only wish to talk, Leo. Leo froze. How do you know my name? The drone projected an image. Not a monster, not a machine, but a human. An older man in a silver cloak standing in a glowing room. His face looked kind, his eyes calm. My name is Oren. I knew Saria. A long time ago. She didn't tell you everything, did she? Leo stood still, unsure. What do you mean? Oren smiled. She tells you she died to save Earth, that she was the last defender. But did she tell you how many people she burned to dust? How many children died in her fire? Leo felt a twist in his chest. She made choices, he said, hard ones. Oren nodded. Yes, choices, but not for Earth, for power. Saria stopped the alien war by becoming like them. She merged with tech that no human understood. Her sword? It doesn't just carry her soul, it carries their code. You're lying, Leo said, gripping the sword tighter. Oren's face stayed calm. Ask her then. If she speaks again, the image vanished. The drone flew away. Leo stood there in silence. A cold wind blew through the ruins. Later that night, Saria returned. Her light was weaker, her face pale. You spoke with him, she said quietly. Leo didn't answer right away. He said you lied to me, he said finally. Saria looked down. Not lied, she whispered. Just didn't tell everything. Leo stood up. You burned cities, you killed innocent people, you merged with alien tech. Is that true? She nodded slowly. Yes. The sword on the ground began to glow darker, as if it shared her pain. Then, why should I trust you? Leo asked. Saria stepped forward. Because I never asked you to trust me, only to stop them. Even if you hate me, even if you fear me. They are worse. The Catheric Emperor is not a king. He is a shadow that speaks, a voice that controls machines, thoughts, and dreams. Leo took a step back. But what if he's right? What if you're already infected? What if this sword changes me into something I'm not? Saria's voice shook. Then throw it away. Leo blinked. What? She pointed at the blade. Throw it away. If you truly believe I am a monster, then destroy the sword. Leave. Run. Live your life. He stared at the sword. His fingers twitched. He knelt down, picked it up slowly. Then he spoke. I don't know who to believe. I don't even know who I am anymore. But if the Emperor wants this sword, then it must still hold something good. Something they fear. Saria looked up. Her eyes were tired. Then you still choose to fight? Leo nodded. Yes. Not for you. Not for the past. But for the people who are still alive. Someone has to try. The sword glowed brighter again. The bond between them grew stronger. The next day, Leo and Saria reached the Old World government vault, deep under the mountain ruins. Saria had hidden something there long ago. A memory. A secret. They found the vault half destroyed, but the lower chambers were still locked tight. Leo placed the sword on a panel. It scanned the blade and opened the door. Inside, glowing screens came to life. Old files played. Security footage. Saria stood in the middle of a battlefield, sword drawn, eyes glowing. Behind her, thousands of civilians burned in a wave of blue fire. Her face was blank. Not cruel, just empty. Leo turned away. Is this the truth? Saria didn't speak. Another screen showed her later, alone, crying over the sword, recording a message. To whoever finds this, I'm sorry. I became what I swore to destroy. But someone must carry the sword again. Someone better than me. Leo looked back at her. You made mistakes, but you didn't run. That matters. Suddenly all screens shut off. The room grew cold. New voice echoed in the chamber, deep, layered, not human. You disappoint me, boy. Leo turned quickly, sword raised. A figure stepped from the shadows. Tall, dressed in flowing armor that moved like liquid. His face was hidden behind a mask shaped like a skull. You're him, Leo said. The figure nodded. I am what your kind feared, what Syria could not kill. I am the memory between stars. And you. He raised his hand. Leo's mind filled with screaming. Images. His mother. Dead. His colony. Destroyed. People he knew, burned alive. He fell to his knees. Stop, he shouted. Syria's voice roared. Get out of his mind. The sword pulsed and pushed back. The Emperor laughed. You are stronger than her, boy. I see it now. Soon, the sword will be mine again. And with it, the earth will become my garden of fire. He vanished. Leo lay on the ground, breathing hard. Syria helped him up. Are you okay? Leo stood slowly. No, but I'm not done. He picked up the sword. His grip was firm. His eyes were steady. Let him come. I'm ready. The soul reforged. The world had gone silent. After the Emperor vanished, the air inside the vault felt thick, like it was waiting for something to break. Leo sat against the wall, the sword across his knees, breathing slowly, eyes half closed. His body still ached from the visions, and his mind trembled from the echo of the Emperor's voice. But he wasn't broken. Not yet. Syria stood beside him, her form flickering. The light that made her body shimmered weaker now, as if holding herself together took more effort than before. He touched your mind, she said quietly. You survived. Most people don't. Leo nodded slowly. He wanted me to give up, but instead I saw something. Syria looked at him. What did you see? Leo looked at the sword. I saw his fear. He's afraid of this blade. But more than that, he's afraid of what happens if we bond fully, if we become one. Syria lowered her head. It's true, but there's a cost. What kind of cost? She didn't answer at first. If we complete the bond, she finally said, I will begin to return. Not just as a voice, but as flesh. I'll have a body again, but the blade will need a soul to give in exchange. Leo felt a chill crawl down his spine. Whose soul? Syria stepped back. Her voice dropped. Yours. The sword pulsed on his lap, softly like a heartbeat. If we do this, you will survive, Syria said. But you may not be the same. Your memories, your thoughts, your name. I may take your place, or we may merge. No one has ever done this before. Leo looked away, unsure. Then maybe I should just keep fighting like I am now. Syria turned her back to him. You've seen what's coming. He will not stop, and he's growing stronger. The next time he comes, it won't be in visions. It will be real. Flesh. Fire. Death. If you fight him alone, you'll die. Leo stood slowly. But if I give you my soul, who will I be? Syria turned. For the first time, her voice cracked. Someone who saved the world. The next day, they reached the Sky Pillar, a ruined alien tower that touched the clouds. Deep inside it was a reactor core once used to power the old enemy ships. Syria believed they could use it to trigger the final bond. As they climbed its broken stairways and moved through the glowing halls, they passed ancient machines, some still alive, whispering in alien tongues. The tower felt awake, like it remembered Syria's presence. They reached the core room, a large circular chamber lit by a green heart pulsing in the center. Wires hung from the ceiling like vines. Walls of shifting glass showed stars spinning too fast, too close. Syria stepped forward. "This is it," she said. "When I step inside the light, the sword will call for you. The moment you hear it, decide." Leo nodded slowly. She turned to him one last time. "I never asked to be remembered," she whispered. "But if you do forget me, I hope you become something better." She walked into the light. And the screaming began. Not from her. From the sword. It flew into the air, spinning fast, burning with blinding fire. Leo dropped to his knees, clutching his head. The blade poured every memory, every battle, every death into his mind at once. He saw Syria's first kill, her last kiss, her final regret, her slow, lonely death inside the sword. "Help me," the sword whispered. "Share your soul." Leo stood, shaking, bleeding, and stepped forward. The light exploded. When it cleared, the room was silent again. Syria stood there. Not a ghost, not a light, but real. Her armor still shimmered, but now it bent to wind. Her hair moved on its own. Her feet touched the floor. Her eyes, blue, deep, endless, looked human again. Leo lay unconscious at her feet. She knelt beside him. "You did it," she whispered. "You gave me life." She touched his chest. He was breathing, but slowly. Inside him, part of her still lived. He was no longer just Leo. He was something new. A soul reforged. Outside the tower, the sky changed color. Red lightning streaked across the horizon. Ships began falling from orbit like arrows. The Emperor had arrived. His voice echoed across the world, carried by wind and metal. "Syria, welcome back. Now, let's finish what we started." "She wants it back." The sky was on fire. From the horizon, black ships poured through the clouds like falling stars. Red lightning split the heavens. The air was thick with energy and the ground shook beneath every step. The world itself seemed to hold its breath. Inside the ruined sky pillar, Syria stood tall, her new body still glowing from the bond. Her armor shimmered like living metal, her eyes fierce and filled with memory. Leo lay behind her, unconscious but breathing. His soul had not been lost, only changed. Part of him now lived inside her, guiding her thoughts, steadying her heart. "We are not two anymore," she whispered to herself. "We are one." Outside, the Emperor arrived. His ship landed like a falling moon, crushing everything beneath it. From the wreckage, he stepped forward. Taller than before, his armor shaped like a cage of living bones, black fire rising from his shoulders. He was no longer just a voice. He was flesh, and he had come to end everything. Syria stepped into the open, holding the reforged sword. It pulsed with silver and blue light. Alive, aware, ready, the Emperor spoke, his voice shaking the earth. "You gave up your soul to return. How noble, how foolish. The boy was stronger than you." Syria raised the blade. "He still is," she said. They charged. The battle began in silence. Then, sound exploded. Syria moved faster than light, her blade cutting through space. The Emperor blocked with black energy, every strike throwing shockwaves across the ruined land. They fought above the clouds, on broken ships, across frozen lakes that cracked and melted under their feet. Syria bled but kept going. Her blade burned, not with fire but with memory. Every soul she had ever lost, every choice she regretted, every moment she shared with Leo, they gave her strength. In the middle of the battle, the Emperor grabbed her by the throat and slammed her into the ground. The earth cracked. Her body flickered. He raised his hand, forming a spear of black flame. "You are nothing," he said. "A broken weapon trying to be human." Syria looked up. "Wrong," she whispered. "I'm not a weapon anymore." The sword floated into her hand. A voice spoke from the blade. "Leo, we are the promise kept." With a final cry, Syria drove the sword into the Emperor's chest. The blade sang. Light exploded in every direction. Time stopped. Inside the explosion, Saria stood face to face with the Emperor's true form, a being of thought and hunger, reaching across galaxies. He spoke softly now. You cannot kill me. I exist in every machine, every signal, every whisper of war. Saria held the sword tighter. Then we'll silence you together. Leo appeared beside her, his spirit glowing bright. He smiled. Are you ready? Saria nodded. They stepped forward together and disappeared into the core of the Emperor's being. Then everything collapsed. The world held its breath, and then silence. The black ships fell from the sky like broken stones. The red lightning vanished. The clouds opened. Sunlight touched the earth again. The war was over. Weeks passed. Leo's body was found beside the sword, still breathing, but different. He woke with new eyes. Saria's memories, her voice, her fire still inside him. People came from every corner of the world to hear his story, to learn the truth, to rebuild. The sword was placed on a stone pedestal in the center of the rebuilt city, surrounded by flowers and metal banners. No one touched it, except him. Sometimes he stood before it, quiet. And sometime he heard her voice again. You kept the promise. Years later, when new enemies rose, people told the story of a woman who slept in a sword for centuries, and the boy who gave everything to bring her back. They called her Earth's last defender. They called him the soul reforged. And the sword? They simply called it the promise.